Hello. Today we will be looking at the acquisitions of the Arroyo Seco Regional Branch of Los Angeles Public Library. The acquisition goals of the Arroyo Seco branch are to provide the Highland Park residents with books and materials that are most requested by patrons and relevant to the community. LAPL does not require a centralized collection for all their branches, but rather allows each branch to develop its collections based on specific community needs. In acquiring new books and materials for its collections, there are numerous criteria and factors that Arroyo Seco librarians must consider before making their selections. The major selection criteria that Arroyo Seco librarians use are patron recommendations, popular interest, and community need. Patron recommendations are accepted at reference and tracked through reference through items that are requested by patrons, and patrons can suggest items through the LAPL website. Arroyo Seco librarians also take into consideration popular interest and community need because they want to make sure that the materials selected are used by the community. They also use LAPL collection development policy as a guideline. The expertise of the librarians will also determine which materials are selected for based on the level of knowledge of the librarian in the specific collection field. The librarians also use professional media reviews such as the American Library Association book list, Title Source 3, and Publishers Weekly, which publish hundreds of reviews of books for library collections. And these are professional, highly regarded reviews. They also must take into consideration the cost of the materials because they have a budget to work within and the availabilities of the materials. You know, if they can't save all their money for something that's not available to them and they're not going to be able to get. So those are the things that they must take into consideration when acquiring items for the collection. Some supplemental collection evaluation information, such as bibliographies and consideration files, are not used that often by Arroyo Seco librarians unless they're creating a new collection, a brand new collection. Then they may consult a bibliography and create a wish list of sorts. The librarian also mentioned the Dewey Decade Report, which, if I understand correctly, reports to the libraries every 10 years and letting them know what Dewey decimal numbers they have the most of their collection in. Where do the librarians primarily purchase their materials from? Well, they purchase them from the online selection and acquisitions website. That's their primary source. It provides an updated monthly list sorted by subject, so the librarians can peruse the subjects and click on a subject and then have a list of the new books available, their price, and they can also track their purchases online. But their purchases, when made online, are tracked by central accounting. And the librarians also have to look up their own reviews of the books. This website does not provide the reviews. The publisher catalogs are also sent to the library, and they look through those and pick selections that they think fit into the collection. Occasionally, on a rare occasion, they will actually purchase a book at a bricks and mortar bookstore such as Barnes & Noble, particularly when the book is not available through a vendor or it's going to take an extremely long time and the book's in high demand, but it's very rare that they will buy a book at an actual bookstore. The City Council approves the LAPL budget, and then that budget is distributed amongst the 72 branches. Arroyo Seco received $48,000 this fiscal year specifically for collection development. And collection maintenance and development is divided amongst staff librarians, so each librarian is in charge of a particular section which they will maintain and develop the collection of. And as mentioned before, expenditures are tracked automatically through central counting when librarians order on the vendor's website. However, librarians may also keep their own expenditure records, so that way when it's time to reconcile with central accounting, they'll have what they need, but there's no system in place that tracks specifically where the collection money has been spent. These records are maintained by the individual librarian. Well, the librarians order monthly for adult and children collections, and the young adult teen collections are ordered every other month. So the adult and children's are really the focus of the library, but they do have a good sized teen collection as well. Items ordered from the vendor usually take at least 2 months before the items actually put on the shelf for patron use. So from the time that a patron requests it to the time that the library actually gets it, that might be an area of concern, but it does take at least 2 months. And when they're ordered from the vendor, they usually already come with the barcode and necessary labeling on it. But sometimes they are missing that information, or also with paperbacks, those usually have to be processed. And if the catalog information is missing, the classification numbers, then the librarian will identify the proper classification information and forward that information to clerical staff. Clerical staff will perform the data entry function. They write the barcode on the inside of the jacket, affix a spine label if necessary, if it's missing, and they'll stamp the book with the branch stamp as well. Arroyo Seco Library is not involved in electronic materials or resources such as the e-books and e-documents. Those are a centralized service available through the LAPL website. So Arroyo Seco staff librarians are not involved in the selection process for the e-materials. However, they do deal in multimedia such as DVDs and audio CDs, which are in high demand. Some of the budget challenges facing Arroyo Seco librarians due to budget cuts include choosing popularity over quality. In an ideal budget, you would want both. You would be able to purchase anything you thought would significantly add to the collection, even if only, a few patrons accessed it, but it would be information needed to those few patrons. But with a budget challenging, you have to consider the majority and what the majority of people are going to use. Also, it limits the number of copies available. So if you have a really good resource that patrons like to access, but it's always out, it's always checked out because you only have 1 or 2 copies due to the budget, that can also be challenging. Also, there's the inability to replace a whole collection of outdated texts. For instance, if your outer space collection, you have books about Pluto, but now Pluto is no longer a planet, but yet you don't have the funds to replace that whole collection at once. So you still keep the older texts, on the shelf. So the staff librarians at Arroyo Seco must take into consideration many different factors and criteria. They heavily rely on patron recommendations, and community needs and popular interest and cost are the major factors determining what is selected for a collection. There's no official tracking system, but librarians can track their own purchase orders, receipts, and records to see what they've purchased for their collection. And although it's been faced with budget cuts and challenges, Arroyo Seco has managed to keep its collection relevant to the community by understanding and catering to its patrons' requests and needs. And it is highly used by the major residents in Highland Park. Thank you so much.